to the Monday, December 3rd live stream for studentloanjustice.org. I'm going to get right into it, folks. First of all, a couple announcements. At 8 p.m. tonight, we are doing a podcast with Andrea, the Cyber Demon. And if you look up and down on our Facebook page, up or down on our Twitter page, you can see it. So interesting article came out today in Business Insider. Joe Biden, or somebody at the Biden administration, said something to the effect that we, the student loan borrowers, need to do our part and get ready for payments to resume May 1st. Do our part. Let's talk about doing our part. President Biden, then Senator Joe Biden, back in 1977, he did his part by being a surprisingly key person, being a junior senator back then, in writing the legislation that initially stripped bankruptcy protections from student loans. Yeah, 77. I was 7 years old. That was a long time ago. So you have to give Joe a lot of credit for longevity. But yeah, so Joe Biden did his part back in the 70s to unleash this student loan catastrophe upon the country, going back to my childhood, and I'm old. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. If I can see them on Facebook, I will respond to them. If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or any of our other platforms, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see them. So Joe Biden did his part in 1977. Lo and behold, the senator from Delaware, where all the banks incorporate, he continued to do his part. In 1995, Joe Biden was a very key leader for the 2005 Bankruptcy Act, Bankruptcy and Consumer Protection Act or something, where Joe and his banker buddies got bankruptcy rights taken away from private student loans. And by the way, at the time, this was an absolute scandal. You know, there was no good reason for taking bankruptcy away from federal student loans in the first place. It turns out that back in the 70s, when people were trotting out stories about people flocking to bankruptcy court, in actual fact, at that time, less than 1%, in fact, about a third of 1% of federal student loans were actually being discharged in bankruptcy. So there was never a good reason for removing bankruptcy from federal student loans. There was absolutely no reason for removing federal bankruptcy protections from private student loans in 2005. I mean, that's essentially like taking bankruptcy protections away from, credit cards. Just an absolute scandal. And by the way, returning bankruptcy to private loans was one of the first things that the Democrats said they were going to do when they retook the House and the Senate in 2006. So Joe Biden really did his part to create this problem. Now, let's flash forward to the election. Before the election, Joe Biden promised to, number one, cancel student loans broadly. He said two different things. He said, I want to cancel $10,000 across the board. In fact, I think he said, I will do that. What he absolutely also did say is he said, I will eliminate your student debt if you earn less than $125,000 a year, if you went to a public college or university or an HBCU. So that was before the election. So shortly after the election, all of a sudden, Biden comes around and says, oh, yeah, I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that. I don't think I have the power to do that. I don't like the idea of giving a break to these kids who went to Harvard and UPenn, etc. He stabbed us in the back. And it wasn't really even a stab in the back. I'd say it was more like an ice pick between our eyeballs. I mean, literally, in all the years that we've been doing this, 16 years, I have never heard a president so blatantly not just break his word, but rub it in. Now, I don't know about you. I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to UPenn. 40% of all student loan borrowers never even graduated. 100% of student loan borrowers were determined to be financially needy as a precondition for getting the loans. Even before this pandemic, 80%, 4 out of 5 of federal student loan borrowers were never going to be able to repay their loans. More than half weren't paying at all, and another 30% were paying and paying and paying, but their loan balances were going up, not down. So we did our part. We voted for Joe Biden. We are the reason Joe Biden won that election. We're absolutely the reason the Georgia election was even close. We did our part. Biden has not done his part. We didn't see anything with bankruptcy. We've heard the administration say that they're thinking about doing something administratively with bankruptcy. Richard Cordray. Well, that was months ago. So where is it, Richard? I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. Yeah, Joe Biden has the power right now to cancel all federally owned student loans. He could do it tomorrow. He could do it tonight. And he could do it without adding one penny to the national debt. He could do it without Congress. He could do it without raising one penny in appropriations from Congress, with zero money from the Treasury. So I'm sorry, guys. I don't like to talk bad about the president. I'm a patriotic guy. But to hear Joe Biden tell us that we need to do our part and get ready to pay, no. I could not disagree strongly enough. In fact, at this point, in the death spiral of this massively, unprecedentedly, catastrophically failed lending program, I think it is both unwise and unpatriotic to feed this lending beast. These loans have been weaponized against us. They are unconstitutional. Make no mistake. The founding fathers called for bankruptcy in the Constitution, ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army. These loans are poisonous. They are a cancer on this country. Over a third of U.S. states, mostly southern red states, student loan debt in those states now exceeds the entire state budget. This lending system is done. It's toast. It's finished. We did our part by voting for Biden. He needed to do his part by returning bankruptcy protections to the loans and canceling the loans broadly. So if you really want to do your part for the good of the country going forward, I quite frankly think that starts by doing the opposite of what Joe Biden is saying. Don't feed this dangerous, nationally threatening lending beast. This lending system has failed. Government-sponsored student loans were clearly a bad idea. This lending system needs to be taken to the bath and drowned in the tub and thrown on the scrap heap of failed U.S. policy experiments in history. So I know a lot of people don't like the idea of not paying on their loans. They don't want to get their wages garnished. They don't want to, they don't want to have their tax returns taken, etc. I get that. But I mean, look, 80% of all borrowers were never going to be able to pay their loans. Before the pandemic, over half of everyone was not paying. Today, right now, almost nobody is paying. And I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. When May 1st rolls around, very few people will resume paying. And in my humble opinion, no one should pay. This lending system is better for the country, better off. We're better off with this thing gone. dead, cleared. This debt should be cleared. Now, Joe Biden has a choice to make. He can either spend the next 3 years pretending that this weaponized lending system is even legitimate and inflicting mass casualties, financial and probably otherwise, on people in this country, or he can spend maybe the next 7 years reinventing higher education finance in this country. Now, we're agnostic on what sort of lending model, whatever financing model for the colleges we might want to adopt going forward. But I can tell you guys that no matter what Joe Biden says, no matter what the swamp people say, and they are saying a lot, we're going to see a tidal wave of oppositional media against us starting like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But no matter what they say, guys, it's not going to change the fact that this lending system is toast. It's failed. It's done. It's finished. There's no saving it. And there should be no saving it. So this lending system is going away. It is in its death throes. Now, whether we get a good, clean death that stimulates the economy at no additional cost to the taxpayer, by the way, nothing added to the national debt, or whether we get a messy, probably civilly unrestful unwinding, that's kind of up to Joe Biden. So, in my humble opinion, doing your part doesn't mean throwing your money into this bottomless pit of a wrecked, dangerous, threatening, unconstitutional lending scam. Doing your part involves, in my humble opinion, not paying, but beyond that, perhaps more importantly, helping us fight. We've got over 1 million people on our groups, on our petition, across all of our platforms. We've got a huge muscle to flex. And right now, that sausage is being made in Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen. It's a new year. I want 2022 to be the last year of this problem. I hope you agree. So if you really want to do your part, go to our website, studentloanjustice.org. Look at our daily actions, right? We're just a group of people. We're just normal people. We're as grassroots gets. We don't do deals with anybody. We're nothing. We are just a collection of normal people. And the one thing I know is that the only way this problem is going to get solved is when normal people like me and like you start fighting this fight. On any given day, maybe 500 people or something are doing our daily actions. They're quick, by the way. They take like 2 seconds to do. It's like mostly like Twitter stuff. Very, very, very easy to do. But when 500 people do it, yeah, okay, that's something. But when 50,000 people do it, yeah, that is what moves the mountain. When 500,000 people do it, that's basically problem solved. So if you want your loans canceled, and this is the most important point I'm going to make tonight, most important policy point, we are not going to see meaningful loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. 16 years of very careful observation of this lending scam has taught us that. We've got to get bankruptcy back. We've got a bill in the Senate right now, S-2598. We have got to get our senators, my senators and your senators, to co-sponsor this bill. It's the most useful thing that you can possibly be doing, because as long as bankruptcy's gone, yeah, we might get some sort of nonsense cancellation. So this up to $50,000 loan cancellation, it will be a joke. Trust me, guys, it will mean almost nothing for almost everyone. With the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, few people, maybe nobody, would even have to file. With the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, we will absolutely see meaningful, widespread loan cancellation. And maybe you just want a break on the interest on your loans. You need a special negotiated settlement. Well, with the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, that can happen. But it is not going to happen unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us. So going to our website and doing our daily actions for the next until this problem is solved, is by far and away the most efficient, most effective use of your time. I want these loans gone. I want to take this banner behind us and burn it. I want to get on with my life. I think you want to get, I hope you want to get on with your life. This problem is not our fault. It is a bad lending system, and we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to 45 million people in the country who don't know about us. Tell them about us, by the way. But more than that, we owe it to tens or even hundreds of millions of people who are going to follow in our footsteps, and they don't deserve to be conquered and enslaved. So please do that. If you forget everything that I've said tonight, please remember at least to get into the daily habit, going to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and doing our daily actions. It is just so important. So, okay, folks, I'm sorry I couldn't see your comments tonight. That happens sometimes on Facebook. I'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll be back tomorrow. We may have a special guest doing a podcast later on in the week. I'll let you know about that as we go forward. But hang in there, guys. This is a new year. This is we've got to double down. We've got to get this year started out strong, and that only will happen when you sitting there help us. We've gotten so far, and we are now so close to victory. Now is the time. Think of it as the last couple miles in a marathon. Now is not the time to sit back and wait and watch and worry. Now is the time for you to strap it on and pull your weight and do your part. That has nothing to do with anything Joe Biden said today. So we got this, guys, when you do your part. So hang in there. I'll see you on Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. Happy New Year. Godspeed. And God bless. And please donate if you can. StudentLoanJustice.org, please.